Blessings, everybody. I've never really used this live. I think one time at a sermon I used a live YouTube. I've been absent for quite a while, and some of you have probably wondered, "Hey, where have you been?" Um, before I exited social media, obviously YouTube is a form of social media. But I got off Instagram. I'm off of Facebook. I encourage everybody in the ministry to do the same. I told everybody in the ministry, actually, that's with us, to get off. So you will no longer see any messages from our ministry that I should be aware of on Facebook or on Instagram. Now, I haven't been absent at all. So I think now is a perfect time to come on. I've been praying a lot, preparing a lot of things. Um, and I think in these times, I think it's time to be silent. It's good to see you all. Um, I, you all are loved, and don't think that I'm abandoning anybody or I have just said so long and farewell and just took off. No, we're still doing things. If everybody can just pray for those in other countries, just keep them in prayer, please, as well as everybody else that's out there doing the work of God. But this is a message that I wanted to say. Now, I'm encouraging everybody to get off social media, and what I mean by that is Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Please get off. Okay, in these times, I want to spur you and encourage you to get off of those things. Be careful of what you're watching. Guys, I'm not even telling you to trust me, okay? But what I'm trying to say is be careful what you're watching on YouTube, what you're spending your time. Guys, if there's anything that I've ever preached through my whole entire life, it's this, that it's time to prepare. I said that even before, I mean, it's been over 50 days since I made a video, okay? And I know some people are going to come on here and watch this, and but there is a reason, and I'm going to be a lot more absent from a lot of things. Yes, I sent a few messages through Telegram, responded to some emails, things like that. There's a lot of things I've been kind of like doing in the background, so I'm not just vanished. I've been reaching a certain group of people. I'm not going to speak publicly who right now, but I've been reaching a large group of people. It's a religious community, and I just want prayer for that as well. It's amazing what God is doing. So again, everybody, we need to be patient this times, kind of do to work in silence. And what I mean by that, guys, don't trust anybody right now. Okay. One another thing I'm going to say publicly too, I'm not vaccinated. Okay. So don't think I'm vaccinated. But another thing is, I want to tell you, be careful of those who are. Next thing I'm going to tell you is be careful of those on Facebook and on Instagram and on Twitter. Okay. It's called social media for a reason. And the reason is this, that we need to be careful why we're on there. Guys, I'm not going to knock you for being on Telegram or Signal, but watch your time on that, guys. Even texting and stuff like that, watch your time. The reason is that I think that in these times, we can be so caught up into our own pursuits. We can be so caught up in what everybody is saying, what others are doing, even thinking that we're spreading the word of God on social media. Guys, yes, I've done these things in the past, but God has told me to get off of those things. And there's a reason I'm giving this message right now. It's a very important message that we all need in these times. And right now, majority of people out there in this world, and I say this sadly, guys, I say this sadly, I have a lot of joy, right? I have so much peace, more peace than I've ever had. But there is something that is saddening to see, because I know, and I'm hearing it, I'm hearing God say it. There's a lot of people that are not hearing God's voice. There is a lot that think they are, but they're running to a synagogue, they're running to a church, they're running to pastor to online preachers, and those that are teaching the word online, guys. Okay, I'm not completely knocking these things, but I what God is telling me, and I know some people get turned off by that when they say, "Well, God said." Yeah, guys, I've been silent for I haven't been on social media for over 50 days, okay? There is a reason, and I'm not going to get on it. Except right here, I'm giving a message right now. So, what I'm trying to say is this, that God says that if we put our trust in man, that there will be a curse on us. That is making flesh his arm. And you're like, well, I'm not. Guys, you can trust in a man. You can trust in a rabbi. You can trust in a preacher. Guys, there is so much, like there's rabbis and preachers out there right now that are given one verse from the prophets, okay? They're given one verse from the prophets, but they're not reading the whole chapter before and after. Before and after, they're reading one. And the reason they're not going to read this, guys, hear me out when I'm saying this, is because they know if they read the rest of it, it will offend the whole entire congregation and everybody watching. Does that make sense? Then they will not listen anymore. There will be no more tithes for them. There will be no more donations for them. There will be no more following for them. Watch out for self-ambition, guys. It's gonna get a lot shakier when I say those who are truly following God and those who are not. And I said long ago that those that are gonna be, and I said, you're gonna know soon, those that remain on social media are false. And I meant Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and those that keep preaching on it. Now, it's being revealed right now. I have to say nothing. I recall when I said that vaccines would be forced, right? They were. They were being forced. They still are. But now there's a mandate in the U.S. that it was shut down, okay? It doesn't mean it won't come back. Something won't come back up. But this is not a time to relax, guys. We've been in prayer about these things. And I said, if God has mercy, he will grant this for us in this season to grant us more time. So this is not a time to retreat from praying. Now is a time, guys, and I'm encouraging you to gather closer with God, know his voice. You got to know his voice. You have to hear. You have to hear. And you can't hear a voice from man. Guys, why do you think I've been a lot more silent? You don't need my voice. What you need is the voice of God. I'm just a man. And if you trust in me, guys, don't trust in me. Don't trust in any man. And anyone that's saying to, watch out. Guys, there's a lot of people there's a lot of rumors out there about me. Even when I was silent, I know there was a lot of rumors, and that's okay. I know it was coming. I'm hearing it in the dark when I'm praying to God. He's telling me, have you heard what the people are saying? Have you seen what the people are doing? And he showed me these things. And this is what you have to be close with God. And you don't hate your brothers or your sisters. You don't hate those that are going off and talking bad about you. You just know that they don't have the presence of God, okay? And all my life I've tried to do is get people to have the presence of God. That you know your God. That you know his voice. That you can sit alone at night and on your bed, in your closet, in your shower, wherever you are working, and you're like, I know you, God. Thank you for what you've done. I'm not who I was yesterday. I'm not who I was 10 years ago. I know that I'm changing more into your image so that when you return, I will be like you. And God, and that's what I'm glorifying you, because I can't do this myself. But look what's going on, guys. Babylon means confusion, okay? And I'm going to go right here. Look at here. Babylon means confusion. And it's full of idolatry, okay? In Revelation 13, we see that the harlot on the forehead of the harlot, right? There was, or it was full. She was full. Look at here. On the forehead, on the heads was blasphemous names. What do you think those blasphemous names are? Now pay attention. There was a false prophet that gave its authority to the beast. Now, there's much written in the prophets, okay? But he gave the power and authority to the beast, and people started worshiping it. One of the heads received a fatal blow. And there's something in the prophets that talk about his people received a fatal blow. And that fatal blow is disconnect from God. Is this making sense? It's a falling away from God. It's a disconnect. It's not being close with God. You have to know that the priests had on their foreheads, holy unto the Lord. It was a gold plate. And he says, I'll purify you as gold. But you must get those impurities taken out, those things that are keeping you from God. And whatever is keeping your mind, your time, your heart, your soul, your mind, that's keeping you from dedicating your life to him and your service. Now, guys, you see, what I'm going to say is going to really help you in the days ahead. I pray it does, because I know what God has been speaking to me. And I thank him for it. But look what he's saying. It had blasphemous names, and those blasphemous names is every blasphemous name, anything that's causing blasphemy against God. And the people received the fatal wound, and it was healed, and the earth followed after the beast in amazement and worshipped it. The dragon, the false prophets, who had given authority to the beast, and worshiped the beast, saying, who is like the beast and who can fight against it? Now, I'm going to tell you something else. The beast attacked the harlot. Pay attention to what I'm about to say right now. The beast attacked the harlot. And the harlot rode on the back of the beast, so she had dominion and authority over the beast. So the nations, the kings, all had one mind to set their mind against the harlot, to attack her, strip her naked, leave her desolate, leave her without authority. So when I'm saying watch out for political movements, watch out for religious movements, watch out. Watch out. It's not, you got to be careful, guys. And when I'm telling you, get off of social media, please. It's very important. Guys, I have not watched a single, I'm going to tell you something right now. I have not watched a single pastor. I have not listened to a single sermon, except what God's been speaking. I have not listened to a single rabbi or anybody, okay? All I've been listening to is what God is telling me. And I pray that you do the same, okay? Look what he says. In Jeremiah 3, if you obey and return to me, then I'll give you shepherds after my own heart with knowledge and understanding. It's not just the knowledge of understanding many profess to have. And anyone that professes to have it, they don't, okay? The knowledge and understanding of God is something that you do when nobody's watching, okay? The knowledge is going to be the understanding that you've obtained from the Bible that is applied in your daily life. It's not going to be boastful. It's not going to be prideful. It's not going to be arrogant. But what it will do is lead you to service to draw you closer to God and bring you in the gates of his kingdom. You will have a connection with him like no one else, okay? And I can't say everyone, but a majority. Now, look, there's another word I want to read you. It says that the people were redeemed in Revelation. And redeemed means also buying and selling or purchase in the marketplace. Redeemed, the people were redeemed. and made holy. But that buying and selling, has Yeshua Jesus purchased you by the blood of his sacrifice and said, I have bought you for a price, a debt that you could never pay, so that you will no longer be sold to religious entities, that you will no longer be sold to a pastor and rabbi, so that you no longer have to search, because that precious pearl is in his word. When you pick it up and you say, I'm going to dig for that treasure, I'm going to buy that field because he purchased me, and I'm going to find that pearl. And when you find that pearl, guys, when you find that pearl, you know what you've been saved from. You will know. And you don't need a man to lead you, because he says, I will tell you. I will lead you. No one no longer needs a teacher, for they'll know me from the least to the greatest. And the least to the greatest, the greatest in the kingdom will teach his commandments and also and follow them and keep them. Even the least of his commandments. The least are even those that might not be written in the 10 Commandments, guys. It's easy. It's going to be written. It's his characteristics. The Old Testament gives you character. And that character is the image of Yeshua, the word that became flesh from old to new. Redeemed. Are we redeemed for the blood of Yeshua, Jesus, or where he purchases for a debt, for a price? If every time we lied, or every time we hated our neighbor, every time we were jealous, each one had a price. $500, $1,000, $5,000. Each time you committed those sins, guys, we'd be trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars in debt. We can't even pay that, guys. Guys, there's no way we could pay that. Now, I want to tell you something. He paid it. But we are slaves to him. And that's the word we don't like hearing today. I would rather be a slave to him, serving him. Guys, when you go to work, think about it. Joseph, Daniel, they were serving pagan kings. Daniel was held captive to Babylon, taken the captive and served the king. It was a prophecy in Habakkuk that this was going to happen in his day. And guess what? 3 times a day, he found time to pray. And he was a very busy man serving in politics. Now pay attention. He got put in the lion's den because he did not bow to the commands of the king that went against God. He was not going to stop worshiping God to worship the king or his statues or his idols. There's 3 men that got thrown into a fiery furnace, and they did not bow. Guys, do not bow. It's your allegiance and your loyalty to the beast in the world system. Don't do it. There's much more precious pearls in this word. If you find that, guys, there's no way. I believe this wholeheartedly. You cannot be taken away. You can give way to sin when you give over your passions and desires. But if you go back to that sin, I'm telling you, it's the fact that you haven't seen the love of God or found it or truly understood the knowledge and the understanding of his love, his truth, his mercy, his grace. And that grace is going to cause you to live holy, righteous, upright, self-controlled lives, saying no to sin and ungodliness until the coming of Messiah. That's Titus 2:11 through 15. That's the grace of God. Now look what here. I'm going to read this, guys, to you. I'm not preaching to you. I just want to talk to everybody right now. I don't want to preach. I don't even want to be right anymore. What I want is people to find God. And I'm telling you, the people that I'm reaching right now, God is leading me to reach. I don't need to post this stuff on social media. I don't need to tell anybody. what I need to do is just do what God is telling me, and each of you need to as well. That's it. That's it. Don't let nobody tell you what to do, please. If you know God, obey his commandments and do it in humility. You don't need to show the world. Guys, I'm not over here screaming in the streets. God told me what to do right now. I'm reaching a certain people. Look what he says right here. Revelation 17. Look what he says. Then came one of the angels, this is 17:1, with the 7 bowls, and he said, "Come, I will show you the judgment of the great whore who is sitting on by many waters. Everything that causes people to commit harlotry. The kings of the earth went whoring with her." Notice they went whoring with her. "And the people living on the earth have become drunk from the wine of her whoring." You see that? And you're like, but that's not me. Guys, just bear with me what I'm about to say. On her forehead is written the name, the Babel the Great, mother of whores and of the earth's obscenities. Now look at here. "I saw the woman drunk from the blood of God's people," that is, from the blood of the people who testify about Yeshua. That's not only those dead, but living. Okay? You want to drink the cup that Yeshua said, "When I return, you would surely drink of this cup again." You don't want to drink the cup of his wrath that the harlot is drinking, okay? If John right here said he was astounded, amazed altogether, he said, why? He'd tell you the secret meaning. These are kingdoms, guys, and it's the whole entire world. These are things that I've preached, but something he's telling me, showed me even more. Look at here, Revelation 18. He said, after these, look at these. She has fallen, Babel the Great. She has become a home for demons, a prison for every unclean spirit, a prison for every unclean, hated bird. For all the nations have drunk of the wine of God's fury caused by her whoring. Every nation. Guys, that goes to show, don't be in a political movement. Don't. Remember that the beast and the nations, the heads, the people came together. The 10 horns came together as one mind, and they attacked the whore. So it's going to look holy. It's going to look very righteous, guys. This is why I'm saying you got to get off of social media. Don't be on Facebook, guys. Don't be on Instagram. Don't be on Twitter. Please. Guys, I'm going to tell you this right now. And this is very important. Long ago, God told me, do not trust any preacher alive, but there was one. He said that would stand firm. I've seen the testing even in his own life. But do not trust anybody that speaks. Do not trust anybody that speaks. That is not him. I'm not even telling you to trust him, okay? But Greg Hirschberg is one, okay? I'm not telling you to fully trust any man. But I do have respect for him. But don't trust anybody else that speaks there. I'm telling you this right now. God has said it long ago, and I'm hearing these same things again, guys. I love David Wilkerson. I love Leonard Ravenhill, and I love A.W. Tozer. These are men that I will always say they stayed faithful. I believe they stayed faithful to the end because you've seen it. Now look at here, guys. Now I can't tell you that, not even I or he may fall away. But what I can say is that I do have a lot of respect and love And he's been a faithful servant to teach the word of God. And been through a lot just like I have. Right? And a lot of people have departed and left and spoke a lot of mean and hurtful things and lies, right? But at the end of the day, who do we have? And who do you have? If people turn against you, you have one, and that's God. And as long as you are faithful to God and you fear him, you have no one to fear. All you have is prayers and love. Now look at here. I'm going to go on. For all the nations have drunk the wine of her fury caused by her whoring, and the kings went off whoring with her, and from her unrestrained love of luxury. The world's businessmen have grown rich. Then I heard another voice out of heaven say, my people come out of her, so that you will not share in her sins, so that you will not be infected by her plagues. Guys, we're going to be here just like the Israelites. But guess what? The Israelites were not touched by the hail. They were not touched by the plagues. They were not touched. The cow still died. The grain was still eaten up. We're having supply chain issues. I said long ago what would happen. How bad? I don't know. But it talks about it in Leviticus and Deuteronomy, so it doesn't take a genius to figure it out. God will just show you. So we're going to be there, but we're not going to receive the plagues, okay? We got to have the blood of the Lamb in the doorposts of our hearts so that he will pass over. Makes sense. The spirit of death is the last thing Yeshua, Jesus, conquered on the cross. And it's the very thing that we should be conquered. We will be conquering right now to those who believe. This calls for endurance of the saints, the believers, the righteous, the Zadik, those who keep the commandments of God and the faith in Jesus, Yeshua. It's faithful, like a bride to their groom. Faithful. Guys, it's not hard not to commit adultery. It's not hard to love money, not love money over your spouse. Some people love money over their spouse. Guys, I'm not bashing anybody. I don't know anybody who you are. Maybe I've seen some of you flash on the screen here, but I'm not speaking to anybody directly. I'm speaking as somebody side by side that's ready to go to heaven with everybody, with all of you. Now look, it's not hard. Again, if this is for somebody, it's not hard to love your spouse and not hate them. Aren't you quick to forgive? He's forgiven you, so forgive. And if you don't have the strength, pray. This is what we're doing right now. We can't be on social media, guys. I'm meaning Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Now look what he says. Look what he says right here. For her sins are a sticky mass piled up to heaven, and God has remembered her crimes. Look at that. You see how patient God is? Babylon, when they built the tower, they confused the language. What is confused again today? The languages. But we're bringing it back into unity, and social media is bringing that. Even though there's division, but what is that division? Confusion. And everybody's saying, I got it. I'm telling you, if they're on social media, guys, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, they're lost. And if you're on there, please just listen to what is being said. If God allowed the Tower of Babel to be piled up all the way to the heavens or to the sky, he's allowed the sins to pile up. but he remembered her crimes. You don't want him to open the book of remembrance. He wanted to open the Lamb's book of life with your name written in it. Look at here. Render to her as she rendered to others. Pay her back double for what she has done. Use the cup in which she has brewed to brew her a double-sized drink. He says to give her torment, sorrow, in the glory and luxury she gave herself. Guys, this is not just, this could be any of us. This could be any of us. For in her heart she says, "This is a queen. I'm not a widow. I will never see sorrow." People say, "I'll never see sorrow, never see pain, never see grief. Therefore, her plagues will come in a single day." This is what's coming, guys. Death, sorrow, and famine. And she'll be burned with fire because of Adonai. God, her judge, is mighty. The kings of the earth who went whoring with her and shared her luxury will sob and wail over her when they see the smoke as she burns and standing at a distance for fear of her torment. They will say, "Oh no, the great city, Babel the Great. In a single hour your judgment has come." They're crying over the world. They're crying over the system, but not God. And you go on to hear the businessmen will weep. It's the whole business, the trade. It's all of it, guys. The fruits you have lusted for, in verse 14, with all your heart have gone, all the luxury, the flashiness have been destroyed, never to return. The sellers of all these things who got rich from her will stand at a distance for fear of her torment, weeping and mourning and saying, "Oh no, the great city." Now look at it, in a single hour ruin, such great wealth. Guys, don't store up your wealth on earth, but in the kingdom where moth and rust cannot destroy. Are you investing your talents in God's kingdom or for the world? Now, I'm going to go back to Daniel. I'm going to go back to Joseph. Joseph sold into slavery. He was a representation of Yeshua, Jesus, a representation. Daniel was another one, taken captive, but they served pagan kings and they did it wholeheartedly. But guess what? They served God, but they would not bow to those kings. They worked hard, but they did not bow. They served God, and guess what? Because they stood firm, even though Joseph was basically the wife of Pharaoh, lied about what he did. Said he was trying to sleep with her, and he was put in the prison. He didn't even have to defend himself. But at the end, God got glory, because not only did the Pharaoh and not only did Nebuchadnezzar see that God was with Daniel and God was with Joseph. And guess what? Because of their faithfulness, it saved the lives of many people. Be that. Be that. Don't serve the world, but serve and work as if you're working for God. That is a hard thing to understand. You are not working to gain money. Guys, I'm going to tell you something. If you're looking at your bank account, if you're trying to get overtime, if you're trying to get a certain amount in savings, if you're trying to get more for investments, whatever the case may be, you will know that your heart is in the world or not. You can't serve God in money. You can't serve God in the world too. It's either one or the other. Guys, the churches they're not going to tell you this. A lot of people are serving self-interest. They're serving goals, dreams. I think we all have been there. Passions, their desires, your success, fame. Do you strive after these things? Success, climbing that career ladder. Why is it that buildings are built like Babylon from the ground up, skyscrapers in a lot of cities? Because they got the highest up on the very top. Just like you had Nimrod at the very top. And he said you could be a god. He said you could serve self. That God was wicked. He doesn't want what's good for you. That he flooded the entire earth. That's an evil God. He causes confusion. He caused people to go whoring after other gods, other people, and pagan traditions. These are the things, I'm not getting into that, but this is what we need to be aware of. Some have served fortune and human desire. Some of you may be right now, but these are the things. You're trusting in self. And some people want the glory of men. That's why there's videos of everything they're doing now. And they're still doing it. Guys, it's one thing if God tells you to do it, but it's another thing if it's like you have to film every single thing. It's another thing if you have to get on social media all the time to get a word from a man. You don't need a word from me. But God told me to get on here for a reason. I don't know. It's been over 50 days. Amen. We need it, guys. We need to get rid of the distractions. And I'm telling you this. Not because of any other reason except I care. And Colossians 3:2, set your minds on the things above and not things on earth. This is what I'm saying. Social media is the things on earth. Before 2004, I think there was only Xanga around that time. Then MySpace came out. Then Facebook and all these other platforms. It's not good. It was here for a season. Now it's unhealthy, guys. It's unhealthy. Like poison, bitter wormwood, GMOs, it's vaccines. It's not good. It's not good. Social media, I'm saying Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, please get off. You know God has been telling you, but you have to hear it. And those that are still on it, don't listen. Don't listen. I don't care if your friends are, guys. Some of them are going to stab you in the back. I don't care if your family is. They're going to stab you in the back. God even says it. Yeshua said it. And this was back in Jeremiah. This was back in Micah. Don't trust the neighbor because all of them go on slandering. All of them are a deceiver. Because I'm not saying don't trust each other. Then you're going to harden your heart. But what I'm saying is don't put your trust in man for your salvation. Or a word. I'm giving a word right now, but maybe this is something you need to hear in order to get closer to God. I can't hold your hand to do it. It's like children, right? You eventually you can't hold their hand forever to cross the road. They're gonna have to look out for cars too. So in the same way, you're gonna have to choose that path to put the blood of the lamb on the doorpost of your home, of your heart. But look what he says. Verse 20. Rejoice over her, heaven. Rejoice, people of God. Emissaries and prophets, for in judging her, God has vindicated you. Look at that. Everything is restored. Shouldn't this be what we're wanting? Guys, I'm going to tell you something right now. I was driving. I've been driving these days, these weeks gone by. And I'm looking at people in their cars next to me, car on the left, the car on the right. And people are not looking at anything except there's no looking at the sky. Nothing. Like I get it, you're driving, but nobody looking at the scenery. God has made a beautiful scenery. We're too busy looking at billboards, buildings, houses, cars. You see what I'm saying? There's been people I've been talking to. You got to understand this. When God tells you to do something, it's not always what you want. Okay? How many people can leave a church or a synagogue? How many people can leave their jobs or their positions and go where God tells you and do what he says? I'm going to tell you something. Paul was a man. I'm going to tell you this. Paul was a man that had the greatest authority, so much authority, he could put anybody to death. So much authority that everybody listened to him. He could tell people to do this, do that, and they did it. And here's a man that gave up everything to be a tent maker. That's the equivalence of a shepherd, which is what David was. Well, many others in the Bible, some of the prophets were shepherds. And think about it. That's the equivalent of a trash man, a truck driver, a janitor. Things that people don't like. So who do you think God is going to? You got to think about Ezra and Nehemiah. They were serving very high and powerful positions, but guess what? They went to restore the breaches in the wall. Even when the mockers and scoffers were threatening them, saying, we will tear down we will tell the king what you're doing, that you have a plot to overthrow him. And they did. They kept saying, stop this work. Guys, the work don't stop. But there's times you got to ignore those voices. There's times you got to drown out everything and you got to do what God is telling you to do. Guys, it's not a matter, God, hear what I'm about to say. For some people right now. It's not a matter of, God, I got to serve you in order to enter the kingdom. It's not, guys, it's not about works. You work because you are saved. You work because you love him. You work because you love others. It should be, what is the glory I'm going to miss out on if I don't do it? In these times, I want to say this, that we have to be very prayerful. Guys, the first thing you do, ladies, the first thing you do when you wake up should not be to grab your phone. I mean, if you have an alarm on it, turn it off, right? I get it. But your first thing to do should not be to text, to look at things on social media. You shouldn't even be on social media at all. Your greatest desire when you wake up should be, God, where are you? And when you go to bed, where are you, God? And what is the thing you're going to do? If you have a spouse, you're going to tell them, I love you. You're going to tell your kids, I love you. Tell God to. Thank him for what he's done in your life. Past and present. Okay? Thank him for those things. Cherish what he's doing in your life. Where he's bringing you. Guys, there is nobody, right now, I'm going to tell you something else. There's like nobody that has my phone number anymore. I changed my phone number. So nobody has my phone number, like nobody. Okay? It's very hard to get in contact with me a lot more. And I said this was gonna come long ago. And I hope that you're getting that place. You want people that see, that truly see. Think about it. The man, the paraplegic that was by the pool of Bethsaida. I don't even know how to say it. There you go. I'm not perfect. But that pool where everybody's trying to get their blessings, get in the pool because they want their healing. For what? The Bible doesn't tell us. Could it be for their own pleasures? Why did they want to be healed? Because they're outside of the city. What did they want to do inside that city? Maybe some wanted to go to the temple. Maybe. But here's the thing. Who did Yeshua Jesus go to? Do you think those people that were trying to get a blessing for themselves that didn't help the crippled man that couldn't walk or couldn't see? Don't you think those people may have been serving the world, wanting to serve the world and God too? Just think about it. I know some of you are understanding what I'm saying right now. We can get baptized but still not be healed. We can desire to go to the temple and still not be healed. We can believe to keep his commandments and still not be healed. Pay attention to what I'm about to say. Yeshua went to that man. He said, but I have no way to help me. Who do you think? No man helped him. Pay attention. No man helped that man that couldn't walk and couldn't see. But Yeshua gave him eyes to see. But he said, and this is something somebody sent me recently, and I was shocked what God showed me. And that comes from above. When God shows you something, guys, man isn't showing you. It's God showing you. It says, blessed are you, Peter, for Father above us showed you that. That came from heaven. There's not that wisdom you can learn or knowledge from a man. You say iron sharpens iron, but guys, where do you be tools for God's kingdom, his temple? Now look what he did. He said, the guy said, I see men like trees. Now think about what I said in my past sermons. Trees. There's a lot I said. And if you're not quite sure, go back. Slow down. Okay? Those trees, he said, then Yeshua touched him one more time. I see. And don't you know the Pharisees were upset? Because he said, how do you see? Who healed you on Shabbat? These are people keeping the commandments. How do you see? I don't know. How do you see? I was blind, but I see. Amazing grace. Think about it. Those eyes to see is only him who can do it. Not I, not that man, not that rabbi, not that pastor, not any human alive. Makes sense? Makes sense? Only God can give us eyes to see. But first, we're going to see men and women like trees before we see a clear picture. I don't know what I'm becoming. I don't know what you're becoming. I don't know what we're becoming. But what I do know, and his word is faithful and true, that we will be like him when he returns. And we'll see like him, live like him, think like him. He says, be perfect as I am perfect. That's morally perfect. And what do you think the beast did? And the false prophet? False prophet is everything that's false, is causing blasphemies. The beast is everything that's the system, the world system. Guys, stop looking for a man. I get it, there's probably a man, but You need to know there's spirits, there's spirits. It's become a den for every unclean spirit and demon. The eyes were set on the world. That's why they're weeping over the world. Why do you think when there's shutdowns, people are fighting so that they can go and eat in stores, eat at restaurants, and go shopping again? Get their hair and nails done, go work out at the gym. We think these people have eyes? They're not even seeing the trees. They're seeing the guys, the people driving. Guys, don't drive on the highway to hell. Walk the narrow path to heaven. The path to hell is broad, and many find it. But the path to heaven is a narrow gate, and very few find it. Very, very few. You have to see how much vanity it is. You're going to have to work in this world. You're going to have to pay bills. But guys, don't make it your life. Don't make it your life. I hear a lot of worldly people that drink say, you know, I drink alcohol, but the alcohol does not own me, control me. And I'm like, okay. You got to work. Hear what I'm saying. You got to work. But your heart and mind is still set on God. Your longing, your desire, your eyes are searching for him. God, what more can I do? It's just in you. It's a passion. That's why it's like Ravenhill said, preaching is not a profession, it's a passion. Serving God is not something, it's not something I just believe. It's a passion. Passion. Your heart, soul, and mind is longing, striving for that. To draw closer, to hold on to his garments, to have your garments washed clean, such you'll be steadfast like a tree. Does not worry in and out of season. It bears fruit in and out of season. It is not uprooted unless man uproots it. He says, do not fear those that can kill the flesh. Do not fear a single man that can kill the flesh, but the one who can kill the soul and the flesh, and cast both into hell. Watch out for man. You want to know how narrow the gate was? Read the prophets. You want to know how narrow the gate is? See how many can read the prophets today. You want to know how narrow the gate is? See how many pastors can actually speak and preach whole chapters of the prophets. Pay attention. You want to know how narrow the gate is? See how many, if upon losing everything in their life, all their possessions, everything that they own, including their bank accounts and food and everything else, including about to be put to death, even their health, everything, even their family, even their friends, can still say, glory to God. Blessed be your name, you give and take away, like Job did. Look, I'm here preaching again. Not really preaching, I'm just talking. If you really want to know, it's going to take sacrifice. A sacrifice is never pleasing to God unless it dies. Physically, you must die and be without spot or blemish. What happens if an animal that's sacrificed has spot or blemish? It won't be pleasing to God. We must be diligent, prudent, wise as a serpent, and innocent as a dove. Guys, let me turn this off really quick. A dove is innocent, and they're very skittish. So is the Spirit. That's why it came down from heaven like a dove. The Spirit is very sensitive to what is right and what is wrong, and the direction you should go, and how to serve God. When to get alone, when to be silent, when to speak. Just like Jeremiah, you'll tear down, you'll build up. You'll plant, you'll uproot. There's a time for everything. And you have to know, be ready, in and out of season. You have to know your God. People say, well, I'm ready to be ready to give a defense for what you believe. But people want what's real. They want to know what God has done in their life. You don't have to give a testimony. But to see to what God has done, not only in other people's lives, but your own. I can't even begin to tell you the stories. There's no words to describe. Guys, there's a lot of people saying I'm living off grid that they post on social media. But are you living spiritually off grid? I see people videoing, going back to street preaching again. I'm seeing people talking about everything that they're doing in missions. Pastors and rabbis, and wanting the praises of men. But how many can sit in silence and say, thank you, God? All I need is you. All I need is you. Love your families. You're going to have to be bold in the days ahead, guys. God should be growing you in boldness and courage, but also great patience and perseverance with all hope, power, and authority. These are the things God should be doing in your life. Guys, when it's coming, some are going to be destined to the sword, some to captivity, some will be here until he returns. Those who use the sword will die with the sword. What do you think that means? If you don't have money for a sword, sell your cloak and go buy one. Guys, you're going to have to be ready. Remember this. Every time it eased up with Pharaoh in Egypt, his heart hardened. But the moment the plagues got worse, think about it, he hardened his heart once again. And we can do the same. Look, I love you guys. I love you all. And prayed for everybody still. Everybody that's out there. That's all I'm going to say today. I went longer than I expected, but there's a lot more, but I'm just going to be silent for now, other than what I spoke. And I just pray that we all, just draw close to him. And don't fear the things that are coming upon the earth. And when men's hearts start to fail them with fear, people's hearts, you got to be the one that has the answers, but be at peace. On this foundation built on solid rock. So when the weather and the hard testing comes, when all weather is, everything's coming upon the earth, it doesn't burn it up. It doesn't get blown over. It doesn't get torn down. The wind can shake it, but it won't be shaken. You'll stand firm on the solid foundation. Stand firm like a tree, firmly rooted in the Word of God. You got to find that precious pearl. Ask God to show you His truth, for that truth will set you free. But you have to want Him with all your heart, soul, and mind. And He says, when you do, you will surely find me. But your heart, your soul, and your mind, find out what that is. Ask God to show you. And when you get to that point, start asking Him, God, show me, give me eyes to see like you see. Guys, I'm going to tell you something. I told a close brother recently, and I'm gonna say it right here. There was not long ago, I could read this word with it was easier to read. What I'm saying, it's easy to read. It's easy to read. But the problem is I understand it, and it's burdensome, if that makes sense. Because every time I'm reading each line, I'm like, God, this is more than I can take. If that makes sense. I'm reading the prophets and I understand every single word. Every single thing these people are going through. And I see that nobody's teaching it. And I said, God, I asked God, I'm like, what else? What more can I do? People are running to and from, gaining and seeking knowledge, but they still don't see your knowledge. They still don't have the understanding. They tell themselves I do, and they follow all these people that once followed me, and they're departed. They're still on social media. Guys, God said, tell them to seek me. Not me, Him. If you're not certain, go back to the message when I said, when I taught on how to pray. Guys, I'm not perfect, and everything I preach, and everything I teach, and everything I say, and every action, and every thought, and every deed. But what I can say is God wants a relationship with each of us. But you have to know God. You have to know Him. And when you can see His truth and grace in the prophets, you start reading Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Amos, Habakkuk. You start reading these prophets and Micah and all of them, Isaiah, and you see it today. Guys, you don't need a YouTube video to help you. What does this mean? You no longer need to get on social media or anywhere on the internet to say, what does this mean? Because when you are truly close to God, this is one of the most important things I'm going to ever say. When you truly know God, you're going to start to know line to line to line, to precept to precept to precept. And you don't got to get online to tell everyone. The only thing you can do is either weep or pray and talk to God more and more and more. Does that make sense? To where this gets so heavy. If that makes sense. His burden's light. But guys, God puts us here, each of us here for different missions, right? Different gifts. But this, you'll read 1 verse, 2 verse, 3 verse, 4 verse. You can't even read the whole chapter. And you're like, I have to come back. You start feeling the burden of God's heart. When you start feeling like, God, am I the only one that sees? Do you see? Does that make sense? You're going to know that you're close to God. And you're going to start hearing him early in the morning, throughout your day, late at night. He's going to talk to you. He's going to talk to you. Guys, before social media, all people had was God. And small little churches with wooden pews. And in other countries, the dirt. Things are gotten out of hand, guys. But when you can read this, and you start glorifying God for each word, telling him how thankful you are. It's his whole entire word. Nothing to boast about. Guys, we don't need to tell people, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Guys, you don't have to tell people. Take pictures of everything you're doing. We don't have to take pictures of our holy days and our halal bread. If you're Messianic or Jewish, whatever you may be, you don't have to take picture of your halal bread, which came from pagan traditions anyway. Be humble. Be merciful. But yet, there's times to be bold. There's somebody I recently spoken to. And if I was cowardly, very firm, to a point where I end up saying, I'm not scared of no man. All of fear is God. I've gone to places with rocket launchers and grenades. I've been in people threaten my life, shot at. I'm like, you think I'm afraid of any man or will bow down to any dollar, anything? You think I'll bow down to any single man or scared of any? When I start saying these things, this man, shut up. I start speaking the word of God, powerful things. God, Yeshua, Jesus is not timid. He's bold. Flip tables, whip people. Guys, I'm not telling you to do that with each other, but why did he do that? Because he's keeping the poor and the impoverished, oppressed out of the temple. They couldn't even afford it. Meanwhile, they believed to keep the commandments. I think we all should be realizing what doing the work of God in silence and secret really means. Again, I'm not telling you you don't have to stop, posting something like videos. But you don't have to do many anymore. This time, there's enough teachings out there. There's enough words out there. There's enough out there that people can find what they're looking for. What we need to do is reach the people that will not get online, that will not go to a church, that will not go to a synagogue, that are tired of religious. I'd rather talk to the smokers, the drunkards, the tattooed than prison. I'd rather talk to those that have been hurt by religion. See what I'm saying? And those that do, even that serve God with humility. We point the finger at other religions, meanwhile ours is so corrupted and messed up. Even ourselves, right? I'm going to read one more because he just told me to read this. Revelation 21:8. But as for the cowardly and the untrustworthy, guys, you have to be trustworthy. And the only way to do that is keep God's commandments in humility. But as for the cowardly, the untrustworthy, the vile, the murderers, the sexually immoral, those involved with the cult and drugs, idol worshippers, and all liars, their destinies a lake burning with fire and sulfur, the second death. Do you know what cowardly means, guys? There's a lot of these you can look up. And cowardly means during persecution, or basically to flow with society, what everybody else is doing, that you cower down. You change your beliefs, your strong moral beliefs in obedience to God, to be swayed with compromise to fit in with society and others. We can't go to a synagogue or a church and group ourselves with groups of people and cliques and factions, expect that we're safe. We're not. We're not. Because when it comes before God, when we stand before God, it's just going to be you and him, I and him, nobody else. Nobody else. And you don't want to hear, depart from me, I never knew you. Think about what you're doing with your time and where you're investing it. I get it, we have to work, but don't set your heart, soul, mind on those things. Okay? Do not. We don't want to live in careless ease or think that we're better than anybody else. I don't know about you, but my goal is just to be able to worship beside his throne. And that's why I speak. And at times silent. And I pray that this helps whoever is going to watch this. And those who endure until the end will be saved. And those who endure until the end will be saved. We just have to keep the trust because the victory is ours. And we're going to have victory and we're going to have defeats through what's coming. But in the end, those are faithful and true. Faithful and true. We want the seal of God on our foreheads so that our mind, our heart, and our soul is dedicated and set apart for holiness and righteousness unto the Lord, Adonai, our God, who we trust and serve with our heart, soul, and mind, and love, cherish. Guys, every single day, waking up, and I can't thank him enough for how he's changed me. How I see his words. about it. I meditate on your words all day long. All you can think about is word. That's the bread of life. The living water, that's all you thirst and hunger for. There's nothing else. Everything else that you see is an illusion. It's fake. It's this, it doesn't matter except people. People. So reach them. I see past everything, guys. Somehow. And I see these souls in the people. And unless if we're gonna be used by God, we gotta get alone, be silent. There's something that Ravenhill once said. The greatest thing I've heard, one of the greatest things I've heard him say. He said, Pastor, it's not just guys, it's for everybody. If you can be silent for 3 years, stay in that place and don't leave it. Don't leave it. I think we put too much time in trying to change the world. I'm guilty of it. Because you love people. And you love God. And you see the way people are going. Running to and from. People can't rest. They're bowing down to things that are being pushed on us. We have to rise up like Maccabees. We have to be set apart for holiness with this seal on our forehead and not the mark of the beast on our foreheads or our hands. Our service, our dedication, our loyalty, our allegiance. We can't give the world these things. But the kingdom is set our minds on the things above and not on earth. Look, I love you all. God bless you all. God be there for each one of you. Please, if there's anyone out there that has anything against me, forgive me. If there's anybody out there that thinks that I'm angry with them, I'm not. Just know that. I don't care what you've done to me or what you said. I still love each of you. And I thank you everybody who has, been faithful to our family. Not only that, our ministry. I love you guys, each one of you. And continue to just pray for us as we do for you. And the work that God has right now is incredible. I don't want to say. Maybe one day I will, but for right now I'm not. Some of you may know, but anyways, I love you guys. Just find out, get close with God in these times. I hope this helps everybody. God bless you. Shalom to each one of you. And don't lose hope. Don't lose hope. It's one thing I keep hearing. Patience. Patience. And patience. I love you all. God bless you.